Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video has been put off for a while already. I've been saying, no, I'll do this video tomorrow, I'll do it the next day, but no, today's the day, today's that tomorrow, and I'm going to show you my entire palette collection. So not only am I going to show it to you, I am also going to ask you if you could pick a palette and let me know in the comment section what palette you want me to use first. I am gonna start Flashback Fridays, so every Friday I am gonna use an old palette because I feel like those get left out on YouTube. I also feel like they get left out on my channel, and maybe you have these palettes, like old palettes, old naked palettes, old rock palettes, and you're not inspired to use them because you don't see any videos on them or you don't see any looks. I feel like this is a great way for me to use them and for you to see an updated look on these palettes. So I'm probably not going to go in any particular order because honestly I have them all mixed and matched, but whichever palette you want to see a tutorial on, that's the one I would love for you to let me know in the comment section that you would want to see, and I'm going to be writing them down so that way each Friday I will go down the list and do a tutorial on that. So hopefully you like these videos, hopefully you like this idea. I find it to be very exciting just because I would love to show you some tutorials on those palettes. So every Friday you can get a tutorial on the palette that you want to watch. So let's get started on this eyeshadow palette collection video. First palette up is the Urban Decay Electric palette. Do you remember this little thing? I did my very first YouTube video on this palette and that was a long time ago, and I remember I was so excited because I did not have any colored eyeshadows, and not like this, and this was my first tutorial. Well, yeah, I did use it in a tutorial. It was my first tutorial, and it was also my first palette review, which, I don't know, it's kind of weird, such a long time ago, but look at all these colors, look how beautiful they are. Let's go ahead and swatch them. The orange one was one of my favorites, like a super bright orange. The blue ones too, oh my god, they're so nice. And let's see, what other one? Let's swatch the yellow one. They're still super soft and really smooth. That's the blue, that's the orange, and that's the bright yellow. Look at that. Still beautiful, still creamy, still very nice. The next one I have here is the Too Faced Just Peachy palette, which is one of my new palettes. This one I just got it last month, but this is my only palette that I have with peachy tones in it. And if I can open it, I can show it to you. So this is the little palette. I do have a full review on this one. I have actually a full review on pretty much a lot of these, but this is my very first peachy palette. I was so happy to get it because I don't have any peachy tone shades, and it's perfect for like fall. The next one that is a very cute, colorful palette is the Too Faced Sugar Pop. This one I've also had it for a long time, and it has a lot of pastel colors. This one was one of my favorites for a while. Like I said, I've always loved colors, at least a little bit of like a pop of color. Lately I've been going a little bit more out there, like a little bit more bold on my eye looks, but before I would just add like a little pop of color, but I've always liked it either way. And then I have the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself palette. This one is also pretty new, not that new, it's kind of like a few months old, but it has a lot of glitter in here, a lot of metallic shades, but this one is very recent. It was part of like their unicorn line, and yeah, unicorn make believe stuff. So yeah, I picked this palette up. It only comes with one matte, and I do love a lot of these shades. I just haven't used it in a long time. Then I have this Pony Effect little palette. This one has one of my favorite red tones, this very bright red. It's very pretty, and I like to pair it up with this color right here. And then I also like this color. This one is a green. It reminds me of a palette that I've seen a lot on YouTube by Wet n Wild, and it has like a greenish brown in there. Let me show you the swatch. So that's exactly what that color looks like. I've seen a lot of people use that palette, and it looks just like that. So you see, just taking this palette out reminds me that this shade is very pretty and it's perfect for fall right now. So now I remember, okay, I could do a color, I could do an eyeshadow with that color. My husband called me. Okay, so next, what was I telling you? Okay, so yeah, so now I remember that I have that that green brown shade in this palette. Now I know to use it. It's perfect for fall. I'd be able to create like a nice brown look with that. I don't know, it's really nice. So next I have my Mega Pro palette. This one is the first palette, the first Mega Pro that they came out with, and I've used this so many times. So this one is not a forgotten palette for sure. I've used this one a lot. Mainly I've used a lot of the neutral tones, but I mean it's one of my favorite palettes. Then with that one I have the Mega Pro 2. I store these together. So this one's another palette that is not forgotten. I've always used this one. I use this one so much year round, all the time. It has so many colors, especially like these shades are great to set my primer. So yeah, and then I use all the other colors every now and then, whether I use them for transition or I use them for the main color. I always use these two palettes. And then let's see, the next one I'm going to show you is the Urban Decay Heavy Metals. This one's the newest palette that I have in my collection, and this one slides out. It's very, very different than any other palette that I have. This one only slides out from one side and why is it making that noise? That sounds weird. You hear that? It wasn't doing that before. Let me see. What did I do? Oh no, I don't know why I was doing that. And this one's an all metallic eyeshadow palette. One side with neutral tones, right there you can see them, and then the other side with colorful tones. And I'm using both of these purple shades in my eye look today. I don't have the review up yet, but it is going to be coming this week. So once it is, I will have it linked up here so that way you can check out the full review on this. This is my newest palette out of my entire collection. And then I have my Marc Jacobs palette. I got this one for my birthday. My sister gave this to me and I haven't used it enough. It has all shimmer shades and you get a silver, a gold, bronze, rose gold, purple. Well, it's not really a purple. Yeah, it is a purple. I was like, it's more like a grayish purple. It's like a lilac grayish purple. Just so many pretty shades, and Marc Jacobs has like beautiful, beautiful packaging. And then I have my Lottie London The Rusts palette. This one I did a comparison with the Urban Decay Naked Heat. You can create looks with this palette that are very similar to the Naked Heat palette, and I do have a full video on that. So this is the Lottie London palette. I use it a lot, but I don't do any tutorials with it, so I need to do that too. Then I have the Anastasia Subculture palette. I use this one all the time, all the time. I fell in love with this palette. I fell in love with the colors. I love the yellow tones. I love the greens in here. I just fell in love with it all together. I know a lot of people didn't like it because of all the kickback that it has and the fallout that it has. Honestly, the colors make it all worth it. It has very, very unique eyeshadow colors compared to everything else that I have. This is a palette that is very unique. Colors that I don't own, which is most important because then I feel like I'm buying the same stuff over and over again. So to me this was very new, very nice, and I make it work. You just can't pick up that much eyeshadow, and trust me, it is very, very pigmented. So the next Anastasia palette is the Prism palette, which is also a new palette in my collection, and another one that I've already fallen in love with. I've used it, I've made tutorials with this already, and I do have a full review on this palette using every single shade in the palette. I love the metallics in here. Those are my favorite colors from here. But not only that, the transition shade colors are beautiful. The ultra matte colors in this palette. The black one's not my favorite. It is very messy. And Parallel is a nice brown, but it's just like, okay, regular brown. And then the other one is this one. This one is very like powdery, and it does fade after you blend it out a few times. So you do have to go back in and like build up the color, but it is beautiful. It does show up a very neon yellow. So I have more Anastasia palettes because I've been buying her palettes for a little while. The only one that I skipped out on was the Modern Renaissance, and I know that that's a permanent palette. I just get it later on, you know. But this one is the, which one's this one? Shadow Couture palette. I used this one a lot in the moment that it was out, but it does have very pretty metallics, shimmers, and just your regular basic everyday colors in here too. And then I have the Artist palette by Anastasia too, and there you go, more pretty colors. A very nice blue in there, true blue. This yellow, I've used it many times. I've also used it in tutorials, and I love the yellow. So my favorite color is purple, but for some reason I go towards yellow when it comes to eyeshadows, and I like the way that they look better on me. Like today, the purple, I mean, it looks nice, but I did have trouble like putting it on and like trying to figure out what other, maybe I don't have the right colors, the right purples to use as my transition and all of that. So it was a little hard for me, but with yellows, I don't know, for some reason I love the way that they look on my eyes. So this one has a very, very beautiful bright yellow. I'm gonna have to swatch it because it is just too pretty for you not to see it. I mean, the swatch is not doing it justice, but I mean, it is very pretty. It is called Fresh, and it looks even better whenever you have a light base underneath it. I mean, it is like bam, super yellow. So I love that eyeshadow. And then the next one is also an Anastasia palette. I am just a fan. This one is the Self-Made palette, and this one has a lot of neutral tones. This one's more like an everyday palette. All of these are discontinued though. They were just like limited edition type of palettes. My favorite color in here is this one. This one came in another palette too, this shade. This one's called Pink Champagne. These creamy eyeshadows are the ones that always go in my palettes because I use those shades so many times. So next I have the two Lorac Pro palettes. They did come out with the rose gold and maybe something else, but I do not have those. This one is my very first palette ever. I remember I couldn't decide in getting this one or getting the Naked palette, and I went with this one, and I was so happy, so excited. I was like, yeah, I have the Lorac Pro palette. Oh my gosh, it was like the thing on YouTube back then. There was like one palette that was like amazing at, you know, different times. It wasn't like so many palettes from different brands in 1 month. So yeah, I remember loving this and like cherishing it. It was my very first high-end palette. So this is the first one, and then I went ahead and I got the second one whenever it came out, and this one also has neutral tones in it. Very cool tones though, but you get some very nice colorful shades like the purple and the blue and this light pink. And this one also Jade, pretty green tone. And you'll notice, I don't know if you will notice, but I do have my stickers on the mirrors for some reason. On some of them I took them off because I was like, okay, you need to stop, take off the plastic. But on some of them I haven't used them, which is why we're doing this video. So again, here are a lot of palettes. You already saw a lot of old palettes that maybe you have them in your collection, you just don't see videos on them. And then the next one is the Naked Heat palette. This is another new palette, one of my favorites from the Naked line, because it has a lot of warm tones, and this is my very first warm tone palette. My first and only. Yeah, because the other one's peachy, and this one's my very first and only warm tone shade. There is a little beauty palette. This one is called the Runway Glamour, and this one is by Profusion. And this one is just a little bitty cute palette, but it does have a green, like a rose gold, a nice blue. They're very pigmented. They swatch really nicely, but they wear really nicely on the eyes too. The red is a little the black is a little shimmery. I don't really like it that much, but all the other colors I like. And then I have this palette. I thought I had decluttered this, but found it. It's the black case. This one came in a set of 3. I think this is the only one I kept. I kept all 3. I just saw them. It comes with the blush and also some eyeshadows. I have not used this palette. It still has a little plastic. This one is one of the Too Faced past holiday collections. I really need to declutter this one and give it to someone who will use it. Next, I have the Lorac Nude Necessities. I remember being super excited about this one because I was like, I can create those pretty bronzy eyeshadow looks, and I never really was able to achieve them. I don't know why. It was just like, I was always afraid of eyeshadow, and I never felt like I could actually do different looks or create nice looks on my eyeshadows. I don't know. It's like I really wanted to, but I wouldn't really practice. So it's like you can't want something and not practice and then think, oh, you can't do it, right? So, I mean, now it's totally different. If I use this palette, I will do a look with it. You know what I mean? I've learned so much and I've been practicing so much that now it's like I take advantage of every single shade that I have in my palettes. Do any of you have this palette? This is an old palette. It's probably about 2 years old. No, I think it's maybe 1.5. No, maybe 2 years old. It's probably 2 years old. Okay, next I have another one from Profusion, and this one is their Berry Bloom palette, and it's broken. But this one was my favorite out of the 2. This one has a lot of rosy tones, but when we were traveling, this one broke, but I didn't know it was broken. And then some drugstore palettes. I have these 2. These are by Maybelline, but this one has a lot of dark tones in it. What is this one called? the rock nudes. It's just that I don't think that they're very pigmented. Whenever I tried to use them, they would just fade. All the colors would just like combine and it'll just look super dark. So I don't know, I need to give this one a chance again, because like I said, now I have like different techniques. Now I use eyeshadows differently. Now I really know how to apply them to where I can see the difference between them, and so I need to use these palettes again. If you would like to see some looks on drugstore palettes, let me know please. This one is the nudes and it has nude colors in here. It has very neutral tone in here. You get a lot of cool tones, no warm tones, but it is in the nudes palette, so it does have some nice shades in here, which I haven't used drugstore palettes in a while. This next one is another drugstore palette. Drugstore by meaning Target. Like you can get this, you can get Pixie at Target. This one has a lot of pretty warm tones. It actually reminds me a lot of the Naked Heat palette, so I was wrong. I do have this other warm toned palette. This one was sent to me by Pixie and it does have a lot of pretty shades in here. I do have a full review on this. The only thing that I said in that video is that it is a little expensive. Like to me, $25 for a drugstore palette is kind of up there. You know what I mean? Plus taxes, it's like, it's probably gonna be 28 or somewhere around there. So yeah, so that was the only thing to me. It was like, maybe you can save up a little bit more and get the Naked Heat or get another high-end palette, but it is really nice. It's very blendable and it's also very creamy. I do like the palette. I don't know, it's, in my opinion, it's like I have to recommend what I truly think. And to me, it's just a teeny bit pricey for the drugstore product, even though this is 10 times better than these. From what I remember these, yeah, this one's way better. Next, I have the Too Faced I Want Candy palette. This one is a very neutral palette. You don't get a lot of color in here, but you do get these highlights. I love this one. This is my favorite shade in here. This is a very beautiful, creamy, soft highlight. My favorite shade from this palette. Look at that. This is a gorgeous highlight. The look that I did for the demo actually for this palette was using these oranges over here on the bottom. Okay, we're actually almost done. It looks like I've been talking for maybe 25 minutes or so. But we're almost done. So next up I have my Naked palettes, and these are the three that I have besides the Naked Heat. This one is the Naked 2. Oh, I think this one's the one that's broken, right? No, it's not this one. Okay. No, none of these are. Or is one of them? I think one of them is broken. Again, from when we were traveling, it broke. But this one is a cool toned eyeshadow palette. It's the Naked 2. And then the Naked palette, the original Naked palette, which I did get after I got the Lorac Pro 1. But this is a very pretty neutral tone palette, an oldie. I'm sure a lot of you guys have this palette. And then lastly, yeah, this one's the one that's broken. This one, yeah, I'm pretty sad about it. This one is the rose gold shades. I'll go ahead and show it to you because I thought I could fix it, but it got pretty messy. I'd probably just have to, you know, take out the shades that were broken because there's no way that I'm gonna be able to fix that and just like clean it up. But I've just kept it closed because I don't want it to get too messy. Next, I have my chocolate palettes, or my Too Faced palettes, which are actually messy because of the other palette. So this one is the chocolate bar palette. I have the thick packaging. They first came out with this thick packaging and then they changed it. Ooh, now I'm gonna break these. Then they changed it and made it a lot thinner. So this one was the original one and I was super excited to get it. It was like, oh my god, the chocolate palette was the thing. And there we go. Beautiful shades. It has a lot of warm tones. It has a very pretty transitional colors in here. And also this highlight is another very pretty highlight. I don't know, Too Faced really does have pretty highlights. They need to make the highlights in these two palettes individual ones because they're really nice. And I still have my little plastics. I always put them back in there. I don't know, it's just my thing. And then I have the Chocolate Bonbons palette. Do any of you guys have this palette? I remember being super excited about it. And I never got the Peachy palette or the Peaches palette. But this one was really nice. Has that very pretty hot pink. And then this one is the Semi-Sweet, which is also a very pretty neutral tone palette. This is my favorite shade in here. This one's called Peanut Butter. And then I also like these two for like the eyelid area. This one is one that never worked out for me. That one's called Pink Sugar. And yeah, that shade never worked out for me. We only have a couple of palettes left. I'm trying to go a little faster. So next I have the Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palette. Before, I never really did tutorials. I don't know why. I guess I wasn't like too excited about doing tutorials because I didn't feel like I was that great at it, which, you know, I should have done them anyways. And now it's just like I love doing tutorials because I can create different looks, and I've been practicing a lot, and I practice on camera, and I try to do different things. So now I need to create different looks. I don't know if you guys can relate on the whole, you know, not being able to do your eyeshadow like you visualize it. It's just that it takes practice, and before I was like, no, you know, that when they say like, oh yeah, practice your makeup looks, I would just be like, you know, maybe they're just already talented, maybe people just already know. No, don't think that. You can practice and you can create very, very pretty eyeshadow looks too. I'm still working on them, but I'm getting better each time. So this one is the Vice 3 palette. And I remember missing out on, I didn't know about the first one. I wasn't really into makeup. And the second one, I did not get it either, but I remember wanting it so bad whenever I saw it. And then I didn't even do YouTube then. And then for this one, no, maybe I have. No, I don't think I did YouTube yet. No, because I got this one whenever I did start YouTube. This one is the Vice 3. It has very pretty colors, but I'm glad they didn't come out with another Vice palette because Vice, it would just be too repetitive. Then I have the Vice 4 palette, which I would love to do tutorials on this look because, I would love to do tutorials with this palette because look at how many pretty shades are in here. Like, look at these. These are very pretty. All these colorful tones in here too. It looks like some of the tones are very similar to the metallic eyeshadow palette, their newest one, but those are completely new formulas. Like, those are real metallic eyeshadows, and these are a little bit different. They're a little bit more powdery. They're not like that. They don't give like that foil finish like the metallic eyeshadows do. But look at how many pretty shades are in here. So many colors. You have purples, greens, blues, oranges. Look at this, very, very pretty. This is one of my favorite shades from this palette. Let me show you. It is just a very fiery orange shade. Okay, next I have the Tarte palette. I don't know what this one is called. It was from one of their, I think I remember it being like Bon Voyage or something like that. I think so. But this one just has a lot of neutral tones. It was one of their holiday collection palettes, which is why I don't get their holiday collection palettes anymore. It's just because I feel like there are a lot of neutral tones and I have a ton in here. And then I have this cute little Lorac palette, and this one has a very pretty blue in here. This one right here, it's very, very pretty. And they're all shimmers. They're all really nice. Is this one a shimmer? Oh no, maybe that one's a matte. But all the other ones are shimmers. And then this one is a Hemish palette. This one I got from Mimi Box. And this one has very, very beautiful neutral tones. This shimmer right here, it's so, so soft. Look, it already got a lot of kickback. But it has a very pretty white. You see, it's like a very icy white eyeshadow. It looks so pretty on the eyelid. And then I have these other two. These went with the black one. Let me see. I think one of these is broken. So yeah, this one is the palette with neutral tones in it, just browns. And again, their holiday collection sets look very similar to these, which is why I don't get them. And then this one has very rosy purple tones in it. And then the last one is the Too Faced holiday collection palette, and this one has a lot of colorful tones in here, and you get some blushes, a highlight, and a bronzer, and then you get these brow bone shades, or even you can use them as highlight too. So I felt like I did a lot of talking. These are all my eyeshadow palettes that I have. Like I said, please let me know which ones you would like to see a tutorial on. I really want to start this series on Flashback Fridays. That's just what I'm naming it. It's nothing in particular why or anything. It's just we're gonna do a little throwback. I was actually thinking of Throwback Thursday, but I was like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and do it on Fridays and do Flashback Fridays. I like that name a little bit better, just because throwback to me sounds like way throwback, like whenever I was like a kid or something, so Flashback Friday was a little bit better for me. So look in your collection and let me know which eyeshadow palette you haven't used that I have too, and that way I can create a look using it. You can tell me what colors you want me to use, or even if you don't have any of these palettes but you still want to see a tutorial on an updated tutorial on it, because some of these are still for sale. Like the Lorac palettes, these are still permanent palettes, like they're still out there. The Naked palettes, those are still there. So a lot of these, the Chocolate Bar palette, like those palettes are still out there. There's just no tutorials on them anymore. So yeah, so hopefully this inspires you to take out your older palettes. I am definitely gonna start with one of these. I don't know which one yet, but if you help me out and you let me know which one you want to see, well, that'll make it a lot easier for me and I'll know what you want to watch. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was probably like super long, but I really wanted to show you all of them, show you my palette collection, and at the same time we can work together and help me create new videos that I know that you want to watch. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Just so you know, I upload every single day, so you will have a brand new video to watch and get ready, or I don't know, take some time off, watch a new video every single day. And with that being said, I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!